Welcome to the Stop Over Drinking and Start Living podcast, where high-achieving, goal-oriented rebel women come to learn how to live a vibrant and fulfilling life without requiring alcohol to get through it. No labels, no judgments, no saying you'll never drink again. Just real proven methods to help you stop rebelling against yourself with alcohol so you can drink less and do more. I'm your host, Angela Mascenik. Let's dig in. Welcome to episode 194, Delayed Gratification. Well, hello there. How are you all? I am just so excited because I don't know if you all follow me on social media or get my emails, but you should go sign up to get my emails at angelamascenik.com and just enter your email there where it says get my top 3 podcast episodes, and then you'll get a few emails from me with those episodes and you'll be on my email list. And I love to email you guys on a regular basis about things that I'm coaching my people on, really awesome advice, inspiration, and that's where you get the fastest and most current announcements with my programs, free classes, anything that I'm offering to the public. That's the easiest way. I like to make quick decisions. I have a lot of ideas. And if I do something, that's where it's first announced, is on my email list. So you don't want to miss that. So go to angelamascenik.com and put your email address in there if you haven't done that yet. So if you're not there, or if you don't follow me on social media, you missed that I am in a magazine, you guys. Woman's World magazine. Woman's World is a weekly women's publication that is often found in grocery stores and drugstores, or big department chains like Walmart and Target. But Women's World magazine reached out to me about 6 weeks or so ago and asked if I would contribute to an article on breaking bad habits. And of course I said yes. So the issue date of the magazine is September 26th. Really what that means is that's when the pull-off shelf date is for magazines. So I will be on shelves probably the 20th of September. So you're getting this podcast episode a few days after that. So I'll be on the shelves probably until the 26th or the 27th, sometimes longer depending on the store. And you can find it there. So it's a page inside the magazine called Ask America's Ultimate Experts. And the title is Help Me Break a Bad Habit. And it's about, maybe 2/3 or halfway through the magazine. It's a 1-page article. So make sure when you go to the store and look for it that you look for the issue date of September 26th. That's, if you see the date of September 26th at the top of the magazine, I'll be in it. Buy that. What I'm asking people to do is to buy it, take a selfie of them with the article and send it to me. I would love to put together a little reel or a little video or a little collage of something of people supporting this message and my help to help women stop over drinking all over the country. So I'd love to see a picture of you with it anyway. And it's a good one. They talk about food and smoking in this article as well. So if you struggle with that, there's a couple other women that they featured in there who are also experts in their fields. So anyway, this week is about delayed gratification on this subject of my article in this magazine. So they reached out to me and they said that I would be on racks on September 15th. Okay, when I'm recording this podcast episode, I think it's the 18th. So it's Sunday the 18th. They told me 3 days ago that I should be on newsstands. So as you can imagine, I was very excited to go out and get my hands on this magazine, right? Like, it's a big deal. I'm really, really celebrating this because to go from where I've come, and if you've been here for a while, you know my story and my history. I was the first female and first person in my whole family to graduate from college on both sides. And it's a big deal for me to be where I am right now, because really, if I were to follow sort of my family patterns, I would still be living in a small town in Indiana. Maybe I would be married, have some kids, and, just living there, probably being a dog groomer. I was really never supposed to go to college. That was never really in my plan. Like my parents didn't go. They never encouraged me to go. That was all my own doing. And, I've accomplished a lot with my work, and my business is very successful. I've helped thousands of women stop over drinking and change their lives. And to go from like this small Indiana girl to being in a publication, seeing your face inside of a magazine like Woman's World on racks in the stores, like it's kind of mind-bending for me. Like it's surreal that like this is my life. And I get highlighted. I've been in other articles and other publications before, but this is like the biggest one. Women's World produces or distributes 1.5 million copies of these magazines every week. It's been in the publication since the 1980s. It's like the longest running women's magazine in print. And, I'm very happy and proud of myself. So anyway, I've got a lot of excitement about it. And so I wanted that instant gratification. It's in print. They said it would be in print on September 15th. So I went out, got dressed up, grabbed my husband in the middle of the day, and he was videotaping me walking into Walmart and like going up to the rack and like paging through. And this is before I understood how what issue dates were and everything. So I wasn't in there. And I was like, okay, well, I am on the date that they said it would be in print. So we went to a couple other stores and we're just like, okay, their dates of the past week's issues were still on the racks. And I just, I emailed the person that I've been working with and said, hey, I'm not seeing it. And so she kind of explained all of this to me, which I, in retrospect, wish I had known now. But I didn't. I mean, I was anticipating this, right? I wanted this satisfaction of seeing myself in this magazine. And then it's like understanding that I'm going to have to wait to see it now, right? So it's like I had been thinking about it. I gotten myself worked up for it, and then it didn't happen. Okay, so my satisfaction and gratification is going to be delayed, right? It wasn't as instantaneous as I thought it would be on that day. So anyway, I'm also sharing this with my email list and on social medias, and everybody's really excited for me. And then I'm like, and it's not out yet. And it's not out yet, right? So we're on day 3, and I actually just this morning did another trip to the store. So I got everybody up. It's Sunday morning. I'm recording this podcast. I got everybody up early. We're like, let's go get donuts at Wegmans and go check the rack for Mommy's magazine. It's got to be out today, right? Well, we get all excited. We get in the car. We drive there. The kids and my Pete and my husband are mock interviewing me on the way. They're a radio show. It was super fun. And so we go in there and it still has last week's issue date on the rack. So I'm like, oh. And I had already planned to do this podcast episode anyway, but we went into one more store, same situation, came home. I still don't have this dang magazine in my hands, right? I have to delay this satisfaction that I'm hoping for, this gratification of seeing that, and that's okay. I'm actually really enjoying this process, and it's helping me think about you all and your goals, right? So many of you want to stop over drinking, and you want to know what that feels like to have said that you've done it, right? I have this thing I'm working on, and I want to get there, right? And then we are faced with our real in the moment urges to drink, right? Or to not follow our drink plan. So the best example I have about delayed gratification is in the moment, right? So let's say you make a drink plan for the week, and that's what I recommend that my clients do is on paper or in our worksheets if you're inside the program, you decide ahead of time which days you're drinking, how many, and what kind on each day. And then if there are days that you're not drinking, you also write that down and you make an actual plan. Okay. And so we make the plan, and then in real moment, in real life, right? Say it's after work on a Monday and you're like, ooh, I could really use a drink right now. Ooh, I really want to drink. I really want to unwind, right? And you're hit with this urge to have something that you don't necessarily want because you didn't plan for it, right? And you're trying to work on it. And what your brain wants you to do, your primitive brain wants you to get that quick hit of pleasure right now. It's motivating you to seek pleasure and avoid pain. So the pain that I'm describing right here in this moment is that desire, right? So we think that if we don't answer that desire, for the drink that it will be painful and we'll have to suffer and we'll have to white knuckle our way and resist and, grit our teeth through it, right? So that's kind of what we think about not answering the call to that desire to have a drink. It's going to be a painful process. So your brain is motivated for you to seek pleasure and avoid pain. Okay, this is just our programming. This is how human beings are conditioned. This is how it's called the motivational triad. Seek pleasure, avoid pain to save energy. Okay? So when there might be an opportunity for you to be in pain, so maybe you're having anxiety, or maybe you're in a bad mood, or maybe you're bored, right? All of that is considered pain in air quotes. And so when we're in that type of emotional experience, we're motivated to seek pleasure. Okay? We want that hit of pleasure right now, in the moment that we are in pain. Are you all following me? So we're motivated to go get out of the emotional experience we're in. And if you've answered that motivation by drinking or eating or scrolling or online shopping or sex or smoking or something like that, then you've trained your brain to do these same things over and over again because it's worked in the past, right? It's like a quick hit. And it can feel urgent, right? That's where this word urge comes from. It feels very necessary and like there's no other option unless you satisfy that need, that want for the alcohol, okay? But once you do that, it might settle that negative feeling that you're experiencing and you can feel relief from that urge and like your brain isn't chattering so much because you're satisfying that need, right? But it doesn't really do anything else. Like that's still going to be there tomorrow night or whenever you're feeling that way again. So it's like you're sacrificing that immediate hit of pleasure that you're going to get from answering the call to drink in the moment. And you're, instead of waiting for that pleasure later to going back to like reaching your goals and the pleasure that you would find from that, right? You're answering that pleasure need now when you decide to drink in response to those feelings, instead of delaying that pleasure for real pleasure and real gratification later. Does that make sense? So going back to my magazine, I'm not having the pleasure. I have to wait for the pleasure of holding that magazine in my hot little hands, right? That is not a pleasure that I'm experiencing right now. I want that feeling. Okay, I have an urge for that feeling. I'm desiring that feeling. I'm excited to feel that, right? But I can't, because it's not even possible for me right now. So I'm delaying it. I'm not going to look for other things to help me feel pleasure or proud or accomplishment. I know that that's coming when I have this magazine. I believe it will happen, and I know I have to wait for it. But I don't think that that's a problem. Like, it's not making me angry. Okay. In the past, before I learned about having emotional agency and desires and urges and this idea of delayed gratification, I'd be like, no, I just want that right now. And I would be pissed if I couldn't have it. Okay. Especially when I thought about my relationship with alcohol, especially if I said, I don't want to drink during the week. And then it was a Monday night and I had put that limit on myself. I would get pissed that I had put that limit on myself. Be like, I don't fucking care. I want that drink tonight, right? Instead of telling myself, you know what, it's okay that you want it. It makes sense that you want it. And you've also made this goal for yourself. And so it'll feel so good when you can say that you followed through on this and you can feel that pride and accomplishment tomorrow when you wake up in the morning. I didn't really understand that then. So I would just keep answering that immediate need and that immediate call to relinquish myself of the pain that I was in because I wanted something. So I was unwilling to wait for that delayed gratification, okay? Because my brain was convinced that the only solution to feeling better was to have a glass of wine. Are you all following me here on this? So the idea of this delayed gratification is knowing that you will feel good. You will feel a sense of accomplishment. You will feel pride of yourself and you feel happy and joyful. But in the moment that you want that drink or you want to go eat that bag of chips or whatever it is that you haven't planned for, you're just like, okay, I understand that I'm feeling this way now and it's not like I'm never going to feel it. I just have to wait for tomorrow. I just have to wait, until this urge passes, or I just have to wait until I have that's on my plan, right? Like I have my wine, it's on my plan for tomorrow night. It's not on my plan tonight. I'm willing to be with this current feeling of the want for it, for that delayed pleasure that I'm going to give myself, that's actually more of a legit pleasure that I've earned, and it's not this immediate gratification that I want right now in this moment. Our society wants you to have what you want now. Look at Amazon, right? Look at all of the different ways that we can get things delivered to us, right? We've got Grubhub and I can't remember all the different apps that we use to have whatever kind of food or drink or dessert or hot cookie or ice cream or Starbucks or whatever it is delivered to us without ever having to leave our couch. Like, this is actually a very big detriment to our society, right? Because of this primitive programming that we have. We are programmed to want things, right? To survive. Like, it's a good thing to have desire for food, right? Because we want to have the desire so that we're motivated to go eat. If we didn't have that want or the desire, we probably wouldn't feed ourselves and we would die off as a species. We want to be worried about pain, right? We want to have awareness around things that are scary and to be motivated to get out of that pain to get to safety. That's how we've evolved as a species. If you look way back in the very beginning of time in human development, right, we had not a lot of shelter. We had to go out and hunt for our food, and there was actual real dangers out there. And so if we didn't have this primitive programming to seek pleasure, avoid pain, and save energy, we wouldn't have lasted very long at all. But now we have a very modernized society, and we still have this primitive programming, and we have things that we shouldn't have access to whenever the heck we want. We have to actually do no work to get to it, right? And that creates more of this behavior that we are all in right now, the over drinking, the overeating, the over shopping, right? Our biggest goal is how do we make this as easy and doable as possible? That's always like our motivation here. And technology is amazing. Don't get me wrong. Like, I wouldn't be here without it, right? And this immediate access to this podcast recording that I'm recording on a Sunday and you'll have on a Tuesday. Like, that's amazing. There's so many gifts that we can have from this intrinsic desire as humans to get access to things quicker, okay? But it also disserves us when we look at breaking habits and trying to drink less and eat less and things like that. Understanding this primitive programming is so important when we want to break our habits. This is why I talk to you all about getting to the root of why you're over drinking. And if you can be willing to wait for that gratification until tomorrow or until next week or until sometime later, I promise you it will serve you. It's not like you're not going to get it. You're not missing out on anything. So a lot of times it sounds like I'm going to miss out and I feel deprived. It's like, okay. So if you give in to your drinking now and it wasn't planned for, right? And you give in to those in the moment urges and primitive desires, you're actually stealing from the future for yourself. You are not giving yourself the opportunity to feel satisfaction and pride and joy and gratification on hitting your goals in the future. So this is really awesome information for you to know, because you can ask yourself when you're in the moment and you're like, I really want this today. I want it right now. You can pause and ask yourself, okay, am I willing to steal that from my goals from the future? Am I willing to sacrifice what I want tomorrow for right now? And if you say yes, by all means, go for it. And you might say yes, but just know that that's your primitive brain speaking, because it wants what it wants right now. It can be very tricky sounding. If you do that, don't beat yourself up about it, but just do an evaluation the next day and really look at that, right? But I just want you to think about this. Be willing to wait for it. It's worth the wait. Think about a vacation that you've planned for, or some big event. Maybe it's like your kid's first sporting event, or a trip, or maybe you're starting a new job, or maybe you're getting a new pet, or something like that you have to wait for, right? And all of the amazing anticipation that you have building up to it, right? And it's so worth it sometimes, right? Like it's so worth it to have to wait for that. Think about training for a marathon, right? There's so much work that goes involved into training for a marathon or a half marathon or some sort of like competitive sporting event. You can't just have that thing right now, right? It takes some dedication and some time to get to that end result. Think about a college education, anything that takes time to build on. Changing your relationship with alcohol is no different. It can feel really hard. It can feel frustrating. It can feel like you're having urges all the time. But just know that that's not permanent. And that's not what is waiting for you on the other side of it. So this idea of delayed gratification, tell yourself, I'm willing to wait to feel better. I don't need an immediate escape from what I'm feeling right now. What I need to do is allow myself to feel this. Take a deep breath, go for a walk, drink a glass of water, and say, I'm willing to wait to feel a true sense of satisfaction that comes from honoring my commitments, through working through my urges, to making goals for myself. The satisfaction that you would get from taking that drink is fake because you're using something from outside of yourself and you're ingesting it to get a sense of relief so that you feel satisfied. And there's no power in that, okay? The power comes from when it comes from you and your decisions that you make, and if you're willing to wait for that. It could even just be 10 minutes, y'all. So I hope this helps you be open to the idea of waiting for something amazing. Use my magazine article as an idea. I'm still waiting for it, friends. I know it's coming. I know it's there. And instead, I'm allowing myself to feel the excitement, a little bit of disappointment, but mostly excitement that I'm like, ooh, this is fun. It's like waiting for a vacation, right? I get to feel this for a while before I actually get it in my hands. You get to feel whatever it is that's coming up for you when you want that glass of wine, and know that there's so much better feelings waiting for you on the other side if you're willing to delay your gratification just a little bit. All right, my friends, I hope you have a beautiful week, and I'll talk to you soon. Oh, and save the date, because October 24th through October 27th, guess what's coming? Wine-free work week challenge. Woo-hoo! So if you're on my email list, you will definitely get a notification of that. If you follow me on socials, you can sign up for it that way too. I don't have the link right now for you to sign up for it, but it's coming. It'll probably be in next week's podcast episode. And if you want it before that, just go check out the socials at Coach with Angela Mascenik or in your emails. And if you want to join Stop Over Drinking and Start Living, my 6-month coaching program, where we take all of this and apply it in your real life, and I coach you every week, and you get the exact support you need to make progress to your goals, I am actively enrolling. So make sure you click through, watch the 3 videos if you haven't already, and fill out your application so I can review that and welcome you into Stop Over Drinking and Start Living. All right, my friends, we'll talk to you soon. Bye.